Fantasy and a story of marriage. Thank you so much. I'm just a talking. Welcome in, Gwendolyn. Welcome in. And welcome to He Say, She Say Live. I'm your host, Char Selassie. And here at Law for Love, this is where the gender wars stop. We are here to hear what men are saying. We're here to hear what women are saying for the purpose of helping to heal our community. And that community is the so-called African American community here in the United States primarily. But I'm speaking to all of the diaspora. I'm speaking to all of the nations, right, that are birthed out of the continent of Africa with respect to how we're dealing with each other, men and women. And those gender wars stop here. So what we're not going to do, we're not going to beat up on men. What we're not going to do, we're not going to beat up on the ladies. You can hear me now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much and welcome. And so, we're not going to sit here and point fingers and blame. We're not going to sit here and destroy each other. But I tell you what, today I do have a rant. I have a rant, and it is for the ladies this week. I went in on the brothers a little last week about them isolating, about them getting lost in their screens, in their TV, in their internet, about them disconnecting from their community and being isolated outside of community with other brothers and other families. And so last week, the brothers had to hear my mouth a little bit on that, right? And I do like to be even-handed. And this week, I want to talk to the ladies. I think we need to be alarmed. I think that we have a serious crisis, and I'm going to tell y'all what I tell men behind the scenes about what I'm seeing with a lot of the aggression from our women. There seems to be a trend where many women are not happy until they have, you know, climbed to the top of the mountain and they found themselves holding the masculinity of their men. And in fact, hey, welcome in, peace and blessings, sister princess, welcome. Some women are determined and may not admit this openly, but I have met women who have admitted this, who have been honest enough to admit this, but they are determined to cut the balls off of their man, to take his testicles and wear them around their neck. And I call this process the process of creating. Y'all see, I wear a Pandora bracelet. I call when women are creating this particular form of jewelry from their man's manhood. I call it a Mandora. And very often I'm in the background when I am counseling husbands, I'm counseling dads. I am telling them, do not allow her to make a Mandora out of you. And I'm so serious about it because some women are determined. And, it reminds me of like it's this one lady that I know. Welcome, peace and blessings. Thank y'all now. Um, This one lady I knew, determined, and it took her about 10 years. She was on the quest to make a Mandora out of her husband. And what was so disappointing for her was that when she finally held the bag, like when she finally accomplished her prize jewels to go around her necklace, she was totally disinterested, unsatisfied, and had completely just lost respect and spat that man out like already been chewed gum. Like it was her quest, but then once she had her prized piece of jewelry, it wasn't even rewarding or satisfying. Like, come on, ladies, do we really want a man who ain't a man? Like the thing is that like if you want to go ahead and chop him off in his private parts, why not just go get you another woman? If you want a man that doesn't have any masculinity about him, why be with a man at all? I mean, like, just go ahead and just get you a woman. you don't have to scar and mar our men when that's what you really want. And it burns me up. Hey, piece of plastic, big red. Hey, it's a Mandora. And some women who are consciously aware, knowing that, all right, I'm operating out of some bitterness right now. Yes, I'm bitter. Yes, I'm resentful. Yes, I hate him. A lot of times that bitterness and that hate is coming from the process of you chopping away at this man's manhood until he finally just gave in, thinking it was for the sake of peace. And then once he give in and then he ain't no man no more, you don't want him. So what are we doing, ladies? What are we doing? Like, is it just me? Am I the only one that's noticing this? Because I'm alarmed, and I think we need to be alarmed when our men are being surgically altered, and not because they're choosing to transition, but because the women are transitioning them. So how does this happen, ladies? A lot of times we're doing it to our sons. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. We say some of the most reckless things to our men. I mean, reckless. And when I talk about being careful with words are so. I think where we make the mistake, ladies, with our men is that we look at them and we see that they're physically bigger than us. Hey, peace and blessings. Yeah, welcome in, Brother Walter. We see that they're physically bigger than us, they're physically stronger than us, and they look like they're supposed to be tougher than us, and they can handle more than we can handle. And because we take for granted that they're tough, we come for them. Since we physically can't fight them, we tear them down with our words. And yes, it's happening a lot from mother to son. It's beginning from mother to son. Where you talking to your son all kind of reckless, you calling him out his name, you telling him he good for nothing and he's sorry. And I mean, just like I don't even want to repeat half of the stuff that women say to our own sons. And these are our prince, our prince. They are our future king. They are the seed of our nation. And we talking to them all kind of sideways, crazy, like they don't mean nothing to nobody. So when you sit up there and you talk to your son all kind of crazy, you got him looking at himself, not even really seeing in himself, like he don't even see that he the Lion King. He just sees that he disappoints you. He just sees that he letting you down, and he just sees that he ain't nothing. And because our men are wired to want to please us, to want to show up for us, to want to impress us sometimes. And when we talk to them all kind of reckless and crazy like that, what are we doing to our own sons? So right now, talk about our sons. What are we doing to our own sons? I mean, it seemed like a lifetime ago when my children were very, very young. And my brother called called one of my children out their name, I said, let me tell you something. You call your kids whatever you want to call your kids, but what you will not do, you will not call my children anything but their name, because their name has meaning, their name has power, their name has destiny. And I will not tolerate anyone speaking anything over my kids but their destiny, but life, but power, but strength, but possibility. So what you not gonna do? And I'm talking to, that was at the time, this was my brother. I loved him with everything in me. He's now gone, but we were very, very close. And he ain't never seen me come for him like that. And we rarely fought. But I told him that day, don't talk to my sons reckless, because they're kings. I want them to see their greatness, and I don't want them to ever. So because I'm like that as a mom, when it comes to how you talk to my kids, that's setting the stage for how my son should expect to be spoken to by other women. See, if your mama talk to you all kind of reckless and crazy, she's opening the door for you to think that this is just how women talk to men. No. A queen speaks to her son knowing that one day he will be king. I mean, you look at the 31st proverb, everybody wants to talk about how this was about the virtuous woman, but the real conversation was that this was a conversation between the king's mother and the king. She was speaking to her son. She was uplifting her son. She was speaking into his destiny. And she began by saying, do not give your strength to women. Why? Because a woman knows that she can't physically fight you, but she will tear you up with that mouth. And she will use those words to cut your gonads from off your body. She will turn you into a eunuch if you sit up there and let her. Do not allow this. Now, don't hear me saying that y'all be walking around here beating yourself on the chest and acting like women are inferior to you and you can do whatever you want and just roll over us. That's not what I'm not promoting that. And I hope we know that. I hope that we know that we promote, that we are all equally valued in the eyes of the Most High. But I do want to rant, and I do want to go off about this one phenomenon, because it's too many men coming into here at Law for Love leaking because of something that a woman who he loves said to him, because of a power struggle that he has been engaged in with his woman for years, and he's exhausted and he doesn't even recognize himself. Ladies, what I'm saying is, do you really want your man to be looking like Simba when he walking around? He's supposed to be the Lion King. He walking around here hanging out with the doggone the warthog and the little whatever that thing called, and he eating grubs from under rocks. He's sitting up there, he eating plants like he an herbivore. And he has no idea that he's the king of the jungle. That's what you want? You want Simba? Because that's what I think we want when we sit up here and we want to dominate our man to the point where he's not a man no more, to the point where we standing on the top of the hill with our Mandora on. You don't want the Lion King. You don't want Mufasa. You want Simba, who don't know who he is, who don't have no strength, who can't even find his roar. Simba ain't got no roar. Oh, it's a meerkat. Yeah, Simba wild here. You look like the people you keep company with, right? So he looking at the meerkat and the warthog. He's seeing himself as these little scavenger beings. He ain't even see himself as the king. Ladies, this is what we're asking for when we sitting up here rocking Mandoras off of our man at our man's at his expense. I once went to a marriage, like this marriage, kind of like a church class kind of thing that they had at our old church. Y'all, it was bad. There was this one couple in there. They were together like a long time, more than 20 years. So the wife was the one, she had everything to say. She was doing all of the interacting. She was speaking on behalf of the couple. Yeah, she was in charge. And that man, he just sat next to her with his head down and agreed with everything she said. I wanted to reach across the classroom and bump him on his forehead. Like, how did you allow this to happen? like, dude, this is what happy life looks like for you. You look like a wimp. She's walking all over you, and you're not even showing up in life right now. How is this happy life? That you don't have a voice in your relationship, and she's always right and you're always wrong. And yes, dear, what is that? That lady had a Mandora, man. And who knows? She could have been chipping away at him. 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I finally got him to obey my command, to yield his strength to me. The number one violation in Proverbs 31, do not give your strength to women. My son, the king. Don't do it. This is a crisis. Y'all, I'm seeing what's going on. These men are coming up in this law firm, leaking. They're not recognizing themselves. They're doubting themselves. They're questioning themselves. They're not even making decisions because they're afraid to make decisions because they've been so beat down with the mouths of women to the point where they've lost their confidence. And is this what we want in our men? Is this what we want for the fathers of our children? Do we want them to walk around questioning their manhood, questioning the reason for being here, questioning their purpose because some woman done tore him up with her words? Done usurped his authority and his power to the point where he's just left at her mercy? What's the point of having a man? So I told you, I feel real strongly about this because as the brothers are coming in here and beat down, they're not seeing where they belong in society because they're not seeing where they belong in their house. They're not seeing where they belong in their family. And I'm not saying our brothers are perfect. I'm not. Our brothers got a lot of work to do. And we love them enough to tell them the truth in a way that's not going to destroy them. In a way that's not going to sit up here and make them feel like they're a worthless piece of gum on the bottom of our shoes, because that's what many men walk away feeling like after they're talking to us. And I was just sharing with another wife not too long ago about the power of our words, because when you think about the superpower of a side piece, I mean, let's talk about it. What does a side piece do? When you sit up here, now you mad at your man because you done made him feel like less than a man. You got him feeling like he your lesbian lover. He goes to work. And at home, he's not appreciated for anything. He can't do anything any good. His jokes are not funny. You can't stand looking at him, and you definitely don't want him touching you. And he goes to work. Now, some female who've been paying attention is going to recognize that all she got to do is shower him with a little praise and adoration. She started letting him know, hey, that was a good idea. Or she hears his point of view and she says, you know what? You got a good point. And then now he enjoys or looking forward to talking to the side piece. She don't know she the side piece yet, or maybe she does know, or maybe he doesn't know that she's the side piece yet. But there's something about this woman at the job who, when he comes to work and the way that she interacts with him, wow, I feel like I feel my manhood again. I feel like I can't be pleasing to a woman. I feel like I can't be hurt by a woman. Because the woman at my house, she don't listen and she don't want to hear nothing I got to say, and I can't do nothing right in her eyes. Everything I do is wrong. That side piece, slowly but surely, gives him more and more and more of her ear, and more and more and more of her praise, until she's all that he's thinking about. She's all that he wants to be. You know, he's looking forward to seeing her and being with her and speaking with her and passing by her, because she's tapped into him feeling like a man again. That he ain't got to be a man, Dora. And this wife that I was talking to, she was like, that makes so much sense. You know, you living with him day in and day out. Yes, he is getting on your nerves. Yes, he has some shortcomings. He probably really doesn't listen. A lot of husbands don't. They tune us out. We need to work on that in a way that's not going to destroy them. And we get angry, we get frustrated, we hold on to grudges, especially when he keep doing the same old thing over and over and over again. No matter how much you've told him calmly, you've explained things to him, you've asked him nicely. You used to be nice about it, and you just can't be nice about it anymore. When we get into that place where we can't stand looking at them, we need to take another look at ourselves. Because when we're talking to our men out of that place where we cannot stand them, that is when our words cut the most. That is when we're doing the most damage. And that is when we are pushing our men into isolation and into God knows what else, where they can feel like a man. Now, if I'm wrong, because y'all brothers know I always want to hear from y'all if I'm messing it up. What do we got here? Women sometimes do that to test a man to see how far they can get away with. Is that what we're doing, women? Are we testing to see how far we could get away with stuff? I'm going to propose that one to the men. I mean, to the ladies. Why do we talk to men like this, ladies? Women do that to see how he would respond, but when the man throws the hammer down, nah, she won't try it no more, and she should levitate into her natural role as the woman. Now, I like this response because Sister Princess is validating what Brother Fast Nickel is saying here. She's saying that there is a testing of power, right? How much can I get away with before he put the hammer down? But ladies, what do we feel about when the men put the hammer down? Yes. What do we feel, ladies, when the men put the hammer down? How does it make us feel? Because look, we live in a culture right now where nobody wants to be mansplained. Nobody wants to hear you mansplaining, right? That's the dominant culture. Our young women right now are being conditioned not to want to hear anything that a man has to say because we are taught that we're smarter and more capable than men. And then we end up talking to our men as though they're stupid. I recently was speaking to a husband who said, "No, men, we're not stupid. We're just guys. Some things you just need to explain to us. Just tell us. Don't yell and scream at us and call us idiots." Hey, welcome in. Peace and blessings, LaShonda. No, we're just ladies, are we testing the boundaries? I think this is a great question. And I think it's a great point that you raised, Fast Nickel, because 5 years ago, I probably would have denied that I was in a power struggle with my husband. I would probably say, "Oh, no, I'm fine with him being a man and, he can lead, I'll follow." But when I'm completely honest with my journey through marriage and my posture as a woman walking through life with a husband, I did want his power. I wanted his power. And the more he put his foot down with my aggressive self, the more angry I became that he would not give it up. I could not stand that. We walk around and we make these excuses of what we want and how we're justified and getting what we want and demanding what we want. And we find convenient ways to demonize our men, why we should be having our way and why we shouldn't have to listen to them or do anything that they want us to do or anything that they expect of us to do. But I will agree that it was a power struggle. I will agree that I was going for the power. And I don't know that most women are willing to admit that. Ladies, In what ways are you struggling to yield to his authority? In what ways are you struggling with him having the power to pull rank? In what ways have you spoken to him, stormed out of the room on him, insisted on having the last word, called him out his name, scream and holler at him until he shut down because he wouldn't let you do what you want to do? And why is that okay? And why are we normalizing that? And why are we modeling that for the next generation of young folks out here trying to figure out love and life? That is not the natural order. Now, I'm not sitting up here saying that. Okay, so I'm going to share a bad joke. My dad had a bad joke when I was growing up. my dad, thank you for telling the truth and shaming the devil. I done all of it. I'm talking about I was so reckless. I used to be so reckless. I'm so thankful for the blood of Hamashiach. and the power of the blood to forgive me and wash away all my sins. Because I was a monster. And I appreciate you keeping it real. So my dad had this bad joke. It went like this. What do you tell a woman what do you say to a woman who has two black eyes? Does anybody want to guess? Any takers? What do you tell a woman who has two black eyes? Keep in mind, this is a bad joke. Hold on, wait. Nothing. She clearly hard of hearing. So that looks like a variation of it. That looks like a variation of it. My dad's punchline was nothing. You already told her twice. Horrible joke, right? So he used to tickle himself, and then he used to tell people that joke in front of my mom, and then she just gave him this look like, I wish you would. I wish you would try. The day you touch me is gonna be the day you meet your maker, joker. My mom was that woman. But we're not promoting that culture, and especially for those of us who are looking for reconnecting with the ancient paths, reconnecting with our original culture. Some of us looking to expatriating, right, to other nations that are more patriarchal. We're not condoning things like my dad's bad joke, putting your hands on your woman in order to cause her to submit. That's not it. So we got two extremes. We got the extreme where the man demands his authority and his power over a woman by physical force because you're physically stronger. But you don't have to do that when you have a woman who is already honoring and respecting of your position. And yes, we get into disagreements, but I ain't gotta tear you down with my mouth, and I don't have to make this precious piece of jewelry out of you. Y'all know it take me a while to read these comments. What they say? Hey, you know what? This is a really, really good one. And I'm gonna bring Red's analogy into this comment about apologizing and shutting up. Or do you wanna share your own Red? You want to share your own analogy? According to Red, and please forgive me if I mess it up. You know how the laws of the universe, of the world, of the earth that were intended by the creator, they're encoded in creation itself. So all of creation testifies of what the law is, right? So in this conversation around, let's just call it who should have the last word. According to Red, the word according to Red is this. Look at the way that we have to use the bathroom. Men have to stand up, focus, and hit the target. And he once told a woman, and y'all have to sit down. So that's creation showing you the law that you need to sit down. I thought that was hilarious. I actually shared that with one of the husbands that we ministered to here. He was very, very tickled by that encryption of the law. Stand up, stand up, focus and hit the target. And ladies, sometimes we do need to sit down. And sometimes apologizing, is a super necessary act of humility because we are very strong-minded. We are very favored in this culture because look, let's talk about the Willie Lynch letter. Willie Lynch was all about emasculating our men. Willie Lynch was all about making our women stronger than our men. Willie Lynch wanted our men hiding behind the skirts of their mama and their woman and pushing the women out to be strong and tough and capable more so than our men. They wanted us to overprotect our men. And then they encouraged us to continue to tear our men down with our attitude and our aggressiveness and our mouth. And so I appreciate you sharing that, LaShonda, about that humility because it does hurt. It hurts. You know, it takes swallowing of pride to admit, you know what, I was wrong. I got beside myself. I remember the day years ago when I came to my husband, I told him, I said, thank you for never just giving in to me just having my way. Because I can honestly say I would have lost all respect for him. And that would have been the end of our relationship. Because once a woman loses respect for a man, she'll walk all over him and he gonna be miserable and unmotivated. And then she gonna be looking at him like, I mean, he just, what is it good for? After you've lost respect for him, because now you're the one walking around with, you know, with that fancy jewelry on. So, you know, I just wanted to share these things from my heart, y'all, because, you know, we even have a matter right now where this female is so nasty to our client. She speaks to our client like he's an idiot. And he's bright. He's capable. He's a really nice guy. I'm sure he made a lot of mistakes in their relationship. I'm sure he wasn't a mind reader like what all women want in our men to just magically know what we want. He didn't read her mind. He couldn't guess what she wanted based on the Hallmark movies. He didn't make all her dreams come true. And so what she did instead, she beat that man down. When every time he tried to make her happy, she frowned at him and she spat upon everything that he ever did. And every time she did it, he lost more and more and more and more confidence. To the point where he looking at himself, he don't even see anyone. And he doesn't see in himself anything that any other woman would want. Who does that? And why are we not satisfied until we have done that to our men? Like the old folk used to say, don't let the devil use you. It's better for you to sit down and bite your tongue to the point where you tasting blood before you unleash your tongue and destroy that man with your mouth. Because the warning is this, ladies. It's only so much somebody gonna put up with certain kind of stuff. And some of those, you know, some of our men, they stay and they die miserable. What kind of life is that? What kind of happily ever after is that? How did you fulfill the purpose of marriage? By beating all of the motivation and strength out of your man. to the point where he was praying for the day death would just come and take him. Because he lived his life feeling like happy wife, happy life. And he was just a shell of a man. I'm sorry. That's my rant. So with that, family, this was more of a little, getting on the ladies, starting with how we talking to our sons, continuing with how we're talking to our men. And I'll say this, ladies, especially if you're married, things have gotten a little crusty, a little boring, a little dry, or you've been in a prolonged power struggle. I want to encourage you with this little. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I share it with people all the time, just as an encouragement. Several years ago, probably about 5-6 years ago, I don't know. I just had the strangest idea. Maybe this was the Holy Spirit inspiring me to gain some insight and to practice some kindness. The scriptures, in fact, the book of Proverbs does talk about the law of kindness. There's a prayer. Teach me to have the law of kindness upon my mouth, in my mouth, or on my tongue. Teach my tongue the law of kindness. And if you grew up like me in a family full of Amazons, independent women, all divorced, by the way, you really didn't see this modeled out. You didn't see kindness modeled out. You saw a lot of screaming, hollering, and shutting down, or just, I don't need you. I can do that all by myself. And so I got this idea that one day I just decided to call my husband a piece of dessert. So like the first day I called him, I said on my way to bed, "You're my slice of yellow chocolate cake." And he was like, "Huh?" He was looking like, "What?" And I just left it at that. I went to bed. And the next day before I went to bed, I told him, "You are my key lime pie." And he was like, "Okay." Obviously, he had never heard nothing sweet come out of my mouth in a very long time, because I had nothing good to say about him, and I did not like him at all. Third night came. "You're my warm fudge brownie a la mode." And he didn't say anything. He just let it ride. That was the third night of dessert. And so when the fourth night came, I had a really long day at work. And I just kind of like passed out from, exhaustion. And right as I was like falling to bed, he goes, "No dessert tonight?" I was like, "Oh yeah, you are my Dutch apple pie." And that continued for a couple of weeks, and it really helped me to remember to take the time to say something sweet. Because by the time we got around to day 4, he was looking forward to knowing what nice I had to say about him. Because we were in a long, dry stretch where I could see nothing good in the brother. And we all get like that. And marriage is like that. And, it gets rough. And so, ladies, because we're so powerful with our words, just a little bit of something sweet. Who doesn't like dessert after dinner? If you find yourself in that place where you kind of like, you can't stand looking at them, you don't have nothing nice to say about them when you're talking about them, try a piece of dessert and see how that goes. I'd love to hear how that works out for you. So with that, y'all, thank you for joining us for He Say, She Say Family Coach Live. Now let me get this right. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, to these weekly conversations. Tonight we did do a little bit of mediating with the point that was thrown out by one of the brothers. One of the sisters responded to it. We're here to hear what men are saying, what women are saying. And I know it's very touchy, it's very challenging to even consider, actually coming into a public space with your actual life situation. Um, and again, anyone who feels the need to, have a more in-depth conversation offline, I welcome you. Sign up for mediation. I'd like to say it's in the description box of most of these broadcasts. If not, you can definitely find it on lawforlove.com, where we're serving a community, bringing a listening, compassionate ear, because we need each other. Men, we as the women in this community, we need you. And it's really, really hard for us to say that sometimes. It's really, really hard for us to admit our vulnerability without you. Sometimes it brings me to tears having to admit that I need the men in my life. Yes, I'm smart, I'm capable, I'm even tough sometimes. But I don't want to be all of that all the time. I don't. And that's why I so appreciate our men in our community. I so appreciate our young men who are coming up in their strength and looking for purpose and meaning in life. I love everything about who the Most High made you to be. The leaders of our community are lions to cover us with the protective roar of your authority over our families, over our children. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being in place. Thank you for holding us down. Thank you for being, for taking it one day at a time, for facing the next day in a culture that hates you and who's afraid of you. And let it not be so that we, the women of this community, do not tell you how much we appreciate you, how much we need you, how much we depend on your leadership, how much we want you to lead. So, with that, y'all, thank you so much for joining. And I look forward to seeing y'all next Monday. Good night.